Boy oh boy, EmbarkStudios is cooking. They're doing exactly what they need to right now. And as we get closer to launch of ArcRaiders in October, they're making massive changes to the weapons, and rightly so. And not just little tweaks either. I'm talking about a full rebalancing based on data, feedback, and what they call the core combat pillars of the game. And get this, on Reddit, there are tier lists for these weapons from the tech test too. And I know people are hype and excited and want to make comparisons already, but let me be clear, those lists are getting thrown out effective immediately, because what we're seeing now, the whole sandbox is being rebuilt. So let's break this down. So what's going on, y'all? It's Be Righteous from Identity, and I am hyped for ArcRaiders. I will be covering it extensively on my channel, and if that's something you're interested in, then don't hesitate to like the video and subscribe to my channel for future content like this. I cover builds, guides, and discussions. If that's something you're into, then join the family. I'd appreciate it. Now, I may be a few days late on this because the source was just announced a few days ago. They dropped a message in their official Discord from Sprinkle Mountain, one of the lead combat designers on ArcRaiders. They actually posted a video along with the message showcasing some type of flamethrower device, which was pretty cool. I'm anxious to see what that's all about in the future. He said they've been hard at work since Tech Test 2, doing 3 things: adding new content, sharpening what's already there, and making encounters feel thrilling, fair, and gratifying. And to do that, they've been diving into mountains of players' feedback and game data, which I'm sure they appreciate. I've given feedback. There's been tons of feedback about all kinds of facets of the game. It's been dissected to death. So this is great. And you can tell, they're not just tweaking numbers randomly. They're looking at how weapon balance affects the flow of combat, moment to moment. So let's see what's changing. Here's one of the fan favorites, the Anvil, basically a hand cannon, and everybody loves it, but it was way too effective at long range, so much so that it was cannibalizing rifles, making them obsolete. And I'm a rifle guy, okay? I cannot wait to dive into the rifles and my snipe game because that's what I specialize in, ranged zoning combat. And I think this is a good change for me. Some of you might be upset about it because hand cannons are great, but they're dialing it back so it fits the role without taking over the whole sandbox. The Volcano is next. This is a shotgun, and shotguns in ArcRaiders were already stronger than expected. And this one just took it too far. It hit too hard and too fast, and from way too far. They're changing its rate of fire, the spread, and the damage fall off. But they're not deleting its identity. You'll still be able to mod it into a beast, just not one that dominates every situation at base value. You know what I mean? Next, we have the 𝒉𝒍𝒑𝒔 and Tempest. These were performing too quickly, shortening the time to kill so much that it broke the rhythm of fights. Like, you know how it is when you break the shield and then it's just flesh after that. And like they said, Arc's combat is built on beats and flow, and those weapons were skipping the beat entirely. So now they're tuning them to bring that back, into the rhythm. This is very important because usually in fights, you have to decide whether you can get out or finish the fight depending on what you know about that weapon as far as what it can do in damage. So the inconsistency usually is not good when it comes to weapons in games. You need to be able to make quick decisions in intense situations, whether it be getting jumped by another group from behind or another arc. Now, let's get into the shields, okay? Heavy shields in particular. And we all saw this coming, and they admitted it as well. They're too strong, and shield swapping was way too efficient. So expect some big changes to how shields function, maybe even mechanically. So they didn't really go into much detail about how they were going to actually do this, but I'm sure they'll balance them accordingly. There's a reason why they did all this, the philosophy behind it all. And what I appreciate here is how transparent Embark is being. They're not just saying we nerfed some stuff. They're telling us why and how, going into details on which ones. They said, and I quote, "We want to linger in those moments where 2 players feel locked in, reading each other's actions and responding with their own. That's where they're building toward. A combat system where fights have tension, pacing, and decision making, not just instant death or one-sided skirmishes." Like I was saying with the 𝒉𝒍𝒑𝒔 and Tempest. So this is bigger than just weapon stats. It's about how the entire game feels, especially in PvPvE, where pacing is everything. Now, here's the wild part. Like I said before, players already made tier lists based on Tech Test 2. People were out ranking every weapon, trying to find the meta. But this update, yeah, it throws all that out the window. The Volcano, the Anvil, the Tempest, they're all getting changed completely. So if you thought you had your loadout locked in for launch, think again. And honestly, I love that because it shows that Embark is still listening. They're still adapting and willing to make major changes instead of just minor hotfixes. It's a little bit different from what they did with the finals when they completely nerfed the aim assist and that whole controversy with console and PC. I actually have a video discussing how this needs to be addressed as well before launch, so stay tuned for that. Moving forward, this is what I've been hoping to see. ArcRaiders isn't even out yet, and the dev team is already doing hard work to make sure nothing dominates unfairly and every weapon has a purpose. Deep down inside, we all wanted this. It's just that we were kind of annoyed that they postponed the game. They actually didn't postpone it. They led us on thinking that they were going to shadow drop or release it last month, but the official date was for 4 months later. But as I said, there are reasons for that, because they even said there are new tools and new toys coming at launch, and that they're racing against time to make sure the game feels worth the wait. One of the tools they're probably referring to is that little flamethrower I was talking about in the video along with the message. And I'll be real, you know, even though October feels far away, this kind of transparency gives me a lot of confidence in where the game is headed. They don't want to mess this launch up. I think they're doing the right thing, because this is how you balance a game before it becomes a problem. Not months later after it's released, after the backlash, but now while it's still in development. So let me know what you think. Are these changes going to make ArcRaiders better? What weapons were you using in the tech test 2 the most? And do you think that weapon will still be viable at launch? Drop a comment below. I want to hear your loadout predictions post rework. And if you found this breakdown helpful, don't hesitate to like the video and subscribe for more ArcRaiders updates, breakdown, and day one launch content. I'll see you in my next video. Be right out.